Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of season 2 of the Bold Business Breakdown. I'm your host, Sebastian Sanchez.
And I'm also your host, Rebecca Nordquist.
So today is another exciting episode. We're bringing 2 student employees from the Nusenda Center for Financial Capability, Javier Valenzuela and Mia Villegas, along with working at the Nusenda Credit Union, which is the Fintech Labs and the podcast sponsor. They are both undergraduates here at NMSU.
That's right, Sebastian. And we're really excited for this episode, being that it's our third one following up on Financial Literacy Month, which was the month of April. And so we just had a really fun time talking to both of them and getting their ideas on how they manage their finances as a college student and what they've learned working at a Nusenda Credit Union. We also want to shout out Nusenda just for being such a great community banking credit union for people to go to as a resource. So there's just going to be a lot of things to unpack in this episode, and it's going to be really awesome.
Oh yes, since we're all students here on today's episode, we're going to have a lot of fun. We cannot answer big questions, but this is only for our entertainment and just to hang out. So please always do your research with anything we say. But without further ado,
let's be bold
and shape the future. All right, everyone. We're here with Mia and Javier from the Nusenda Center for Financial Capability. How are you guys today?
Good. How are
Yeah,
you?
good. We're doing
Great.
good. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming on our podcast. I know the summertime's coming in, so it is a little hot, especially in this little room. Yeah.
and we're finishing up our semester. Are you both graduating?
No.
No?
I'm not.
When do you graduate?
I graduate in 26.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And
And you graduate this
I'm
semester?
out of here this May.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
Okay. Well, so yeah, we're finishing up our semesters. I hope it's going well for both of you. If you guys could both tell us a little bit about yourselves, and what you do, what your majors are, who you are, just for the audience.
Go for it.
Want me to go first?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I'm nervous. My name is Javier Valenzuela. I'm a finance major. I'm a senior this year. I've been with Nusenda for about a year and a half. I've always been interested into financial literacy, especially when that opportunity came up. I like fitness a lot. I like reading about history a lot, and occasionally I enjoy politics, but not too much. I'm not one of those guys. But,
Nice. Thank
My
you.
turn. My name is Mia Villegas. I am a sophomore. I've been with Nusenda for a year and a half. I started with the campus tutoring services as like a front desk receptionist. And then I moved over to the Nusenda side, working with social media, planning events, marketing, outreach, stuff like that. I am majoring in communication disorders and Spanish. My mom is a speech therapist, so I kind of following in her footsteps. And Spanish, I had so many credits for my AP exam that might as well just get a second degree with it since I'm here anyways. I love to shop. I love, honestly, I really do like have a passion for financial literacy and like educating others and like myself. It's become something that like I worry about too much sometimes. And I love my dog and my family, and I just love spending time with the people I love.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
nice. Just to give the audience some perspective, so they work for one Nusenda program here on campus at NMSU, as we and Rebecca do as well. Both of our programs came in at the same time, so the way I like to see it is we're both kind of like sibling programs. We came in at the same time, so yeah.
We appreciate
we
everything
appreciate
you do
yeah.
and everything that Nusenda does. We love this,
Yeah.
to collaborate with you guys when we
Yes.
can.
Community, yeah. So I guess our first question for you guys is what brought you into finance? What interests you in like the position you guys are today?
So yeah, it was pretty much, well, growing up in high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I really liked economics. And I was working for my father, and I kind of saw his financial troubles, and I was doing some research on my own, particularly like the Dave Ramsey show. I would listen to him, and I was like, whoa, like mutual funds, all kinds of stuff. And so maybe I want to get into this. And so I kind of started helping my dad kind of, get his finances in order, start savings, look for retirement, because nowadays, I mean, the inflation, Social Security being insolvent, it's really hard to just rely on a 401k for retirement. But that's pretty much what got me into finance. And of course, the great program that we have here has always been, something to look forward to.
Right. Or even just in general, like working for Nusenda too. Like, what brought you to specifically Nusenda? Was there like kind of a yeah, I really want to work for, like, that was just like it worked for you?
Well, I became really close with Paula Groves, you know, and she recommended this position to me. And I've always liked teaching, you know. I was always teaching my mom, my sisters how to budget, how to, you know, not waste all your money. And so I was like, well, maybe I can do this for like a living and enjoy it. Because I don't know about Mia, but I don't really think about it as a job. I think about it as like another class almost. And it's really enjoyable because we get to apply these things that we learn and help people in the end. So it's pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, like what I like about these programs is it's like it offers like some experiential learning. So
Exactly.
me and Rebecca, we do our marketing, but through this program we've been allowed to kind of try and experiment with things such as you guys have with finance and what you guys do.
I started working when I was 15 years old. I just always wanted to work. I never liked having to ask my parents for $20 to go to the movies because for some reason I always felt bad. I mean, they would give it to me, but I don't know. So I started working at an onion shed, actually. And that's, like, real hard work. So I saved my money. Like, to this day, I still have, like, my bills because they paid us cash. They paid us cash, and I still have, like, bills from that job, like, still saved. And I guess I found the value of work, and you work for money, and you earn the money, so don't let it burn a hole in your pocket, I guess. So since then, I got really, like, interested in, like, saving. Like, my biggest thing is save.
Yes.
Like, that's what I do. Like, every time I get paid, I automatically put into my savings. Like, if I have money in my Cash App, I don't transfer it out. I'm like, oh, maybe I want to go get my nails done and pay my lady with Cash App. Like, you know, stuff like that. It's always been something that's been really interesting to me. There's so many layers of it, and I'm still, like, so, like, new to it, I guess you could say. Like, I'm a sophomore. I started kind of working with Steph Frisch, who was a graduate assistant.
Okay.
She was the graduate assistant for Nusenda. She was a peer financial educator. And my gosh, like, just the way she would talk and, like, she was amazing. Like, she's awesome. And so she graduated. Our boss needed somebody to do social media, so I kind of took over that position since I was doing social media for campus tutoring. And I was like, hey, can you, like, is it possible, is it in our budget to see if I can, like, get my certification for it? And she was like, yeah, sure. So I did that, and it's just been something that I've been really passionate about. Like, my cousin all the time, she's a spender, and I'm like, don't go over 30% of your credit limit.
Yeah.
Like, we'll write a contract, I'll give you a loan, we can, like, do this stuff out. So it's just, I really like educating, like, the people around me, like my parents especially, my brothers and stuff like that.
No, I love that you guys have like a sense of, I love with your program, you guys have a sense of financial literacy and teaching students about, you know, budgeting and I know you guys help students out with like, you know, like a budgeting format and how they should use their money. And I know recently you guys had your financial wellness fair.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
It was really cool. It was the third one that I've experienced. We did another one last semester. You guys were there for our ribbon cutting and stuff like that. But it's really cool. Students come out. They play bingo. So we give them a bingo card with all the tables, and they go to all the tables to discuss. We had people from banks. We had real estate agents. We had, who else was there?
Just like financial resources across the community. Like we'll have like Wells Fargo, First Financial, departments around NMSU, just kind of like getting students a resource, financial resources, have them be familiar, you know, start networking, things like that. And the reason we do the bingo card is because so they have to like almost have to go around all the tables. A lot of them don't. A lot of them just show up for the free stuff. But it's a really good format, I think, to get people around and just be kind of like familiar with what you know is available in terms of financial aid.
And we try to make it as fun as we can. We have like a 360 photo booth where they go and take pictures. You play the bingo, you spin the wheel, you win a prize. You get a prize just for showing up to our table. You don't even have to go to all the other tables, but obviously we encourage it. And it's just something that students can look forward to. We ourselves, we look forward to it just to get out of the office and do something
and
fun.
teach something.
Yes.
No, I love hearing that because I feel like with us, like we're not, like Sebastian said, we're not finance majors, but we do marketing and some of the communications and stuff for for fintech, and we love the fact that we are learning about how to manage your money and how to, because I just feel like a lot of people our age aren't focusing on that. And so when we talk to Paula Groves and other students, it's good to find a community of people that really like find the value in their financial literacy and managing your money and budgeting and all that stuff. So that was really cool to hear how you guys got to Nusenda, what you guys like about it, and and just what you think about financial literacy. But if you want to elaborate more about specifically financial literacy, since it is Financial Literacy Month, what does financial literacy mean to each of you, and how does that show up in your personal lives more? I know that you kind of touched on that a little bit, Mia, but just a little bit more into that, because that's super interesting to us as well.
You can go ahead, Mia.
Financial literacy has always been something that's really important to me. I've always been like a very independent person. Being financially independent is very important, and the feeling of being like financially free, like not having to worry about like making like, I mean, obviously we all worry, but like managing your money in a way that it's not so stressful when it comes time to like pay bills and do stuff like that. That's really important to me. Financial stress is like a big deal, and it's hard, and it takes a toll on people, and I experienced that for a little bit. And you know, like our job is to help people not feel like that. Like our workshops, we do things like we give tips and stuff like that so that people don't have to feel like that. We give budgeting sheets. We give a lot of like handouts and stuff. And students can always come on Thursdays. We have our walk-in Thursdays from 10 to 1. Come and just sit down and talk with us if they want to talk about, hey, like my credit card's high. What can we do about that? Just anything like that. We just are here to offer advice to students, and it's really important to me to be able to provide that information to students, because not all of us grew up with a family that like knew about stuff like that. So, and it's not something they teach us in high school. So growing up, we really need to know stuff like that, and it's a resource for students.
Yeah, and we love talking about your guys' workshops. Last semester, we would have ads and stuff, and I didn't notice them until I had to start writing the ads for Nusenda and on the podcast, and just all of the things that you guys do, like around the holidays, you guys had one that was like
Holiday shopping on a budget.
Yeah, holiday shopping on a budget. And that stuff like affects us like so much. Like I have all this money saved, and then all of a sudden the holidays come and I have none of it. So we think that those are super interesting, and I think it's cool that you guys do that.
And like you mentioned, in high school we didn't really learn stuff like that. And I noticed Nusenda as a whole, throughout New Mexico, they're doing initiatives to kind of just like teach high school students, bring that financial literacy. And with us being here in college, I know we're on our own. We get jobs, and sometimes we're like, it's hard to manage our money. So we have people like you on campus who students can go through, like you said, go to your walk-in Thursdays and just talk to you guys. And I did go to one of your guys' workshops, which Sydney hosted. She was the host for that one, and that one was just like, it was fun. It was fun. So you guys making financial, which can kind of become kind of boring depending on how people look at it, but you guys are making it fun, which is the best part. Yeah.
It's a lot of people don't like talking about it. It's very kind of like an uncomfortable topic. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's a livelihood, you know. It's kind of like your circumstances within, and it's important to kind of realize that in college, because you're kind of pushed out on your own boat during this time, and so it just allows you to become more independent, gain skills, and just rely on yourself, really. Because nowadays, I mean, if you're not financially literate, then a lot of pitfalls can happen, like going into debt, your credit score going down can hinder future opportunities like buying a house, getting a car, and ultimately things like getting an apartment. A lot of apartments have credit checks nowadays, so it's important to kind of, you know, be aware of these things. And so we try to take a holistic approach about it. We try not to focus too much on the dark, you know, like the terrible stuff. So we try to make it fun, and I think we've done a pretty good job about it this semester. We've seen our department grow a lot more than it has. Yeah. And we hope we can keep that trajectory going.
Yeah, especially after college, I think that's when it is like really overwhelming, because then you have to take on all this financial responsibility out of nowhere, and it's it's very intimidating for some people. And, you know, finances are really personal. I feel like when you talk, you don't just go up to a random stranger and ask how they're doing financially, you know, like they have to come to you. And so I think that, yeah, providing those resources so people know about them so that if they're struggling, they know where to go. I think that that's awesome because that, you know, we don't get taught that in school. We don't, I mean, even if you go to college, you don't get taught that unless you seek it out. So it's a very, it's a very uncomfortable topic for sure. But yeah, I think it's extremely, extremely valuable.
Yeah, it is. I mean, just there's been an epidemic of financial illiteracy lately. And I mean, if you look at, I brought some statistics here. And according to FINRA, only 57% of adults in the United States are financially literate.
Wow.
So that's a little bit alarming.
Yeah.
But, you know, only 40% of Americans are, or over 40% of Americans are unfamiliar with Roth IRAs, money market accounts, and high-yield saving accounts. That's kind of like, you know, a big part of what could make a difference in your retirement.
For future, yeah.
You said 47%?
Over 40%.
Over 40%. Yeah, and that's the other thing is that, like, retirement, we had an episode on that, and that I feel like a lot of people rely on Social Security, and that's not enough to be able to sustain. It's like, that's for you to be prevented from, like, just to make it the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think financial literacy is also really cool because I think when I started realizing about financials, it was more of like I feel like I needed to have all the money. Like I needed to be rich. And I don't feel like it's necessarily about being rich. I think it's more about just being smart.
Yes.
And like
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, I think it's more about being smart with your money. And so I think it'd be cool to hear your guys' perspective on like how you don't have to elaborate too much on like how you guys manage your money, like specifics, but as college students, maybe some basic ways that you guys kind of manage your guys' personal finances, just or like what you've learned at Nusenda.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You want to go?
Yeah. So I definitely live by paying yourself first. Like I definitely, as soon as I get paid, I put into my savings account because if I don't see that money, then it doesn't hurt when I lose it, you know? And there's ways in like direct deposit to put like a certain percentage of your check into a certain account and then like put 20% into your savings automatically and then 80% into your checking, stuff like that. A big thing for me, like this week I have not bought coffee once and I'm like so proud of myself.
Yeah,
I haven't bought lunch at all. So that's where I spend most of my money is like on coffee, like a good matcha to die for.
Yeah,
so like making lunch for the week on a Sunday, buying some like a $5 thing of coffee from Walmart and some like good creamer and like they have cold foam now. I just bought it the other day.
Oh, wow.
So that is really what I like. I don't spoil myself very much. Because I'm very much like a retail therapy person, but like my retail therapy for what's like I guess financially responsible for me personally would be like to put all like a bunch of stuff in my cart and then never buy it. So like that's like retail therapy for me. But you know, sometimes we need it. Like
Oh yeah, of course.
I bought myself a purse, but it was an outlet mall purse.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it was like $150, so not bad.
Budget,
Yeah, so just I think is to, I guess the biggest advice I give myself is like, will I use it again? Do I need it? And just, I don't know.
Like, do you value it? Like, is it
Yes.
something that you really value?
No, I like that you said that because you said you don't spoil yourself a lot. And I believe a lot. Sometimes people just need to hold themselves back because there is a time and place for things. And like Rebecca said, having a lot of money, as much as we want that, it's about being smart.
Exactly.
So if we have there's always a time and place. If I want to buy docs now, I can't buy them now. But I know if I hold my money for the future, I can buy them in the future and, you know, not be so scared. You know, that post-purchase, like, what do you call that?
Guilt.
Post-purchase guilt that I have. If it's in the future, I'll feel more better about myself. So.
Yeah. And another thing I definitely live by is like, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Like, I have a pair of shoes and my mom was like, those shoes are so gross. Like my blazer. She's like, you need to get new shoes. And I'm like, my soles are still intact. I don't need to go out. blazers are like $65, $70 maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't need to go out and get a new pair because they still work. Like, I don't need a bunch of like plain black t-shirts over and over again, you know. I'm very, I wouldn't say sentimental, but if I don't need something, I don't get it. Even though sometimes I really want something, it's something that you have to like reflect about. Like this morning I wanted a matcha so bad. But is it financially responsible to be getting a $7 drink every day when if I, like, that money for the week could have bought me like a new pair of blazers that I might actually need?
Well, and I think that it's okay to buy the things that you want sometimes.
Definitely.
But it's like, did I pay my bills first, and did I get all that done away? Like, is this like my disposable income, or is it like my discretionary income where it's like I've already paid everything and now I have like, you know, I have this amount of in savings, so therefore I can maybe afford a $7 matcha.
Exactly.
But those things do add up. So I'm really glad that you brought it up, because if you buy Starbucks every single day, eventually it adds up. Treating yourself to a Starbucks maybe once a month,
Friday,
or like if you
made it through the week.
Fridays,
yeah.
I trick myself. Oh, it's Monday. I got up this morning. Oh, it's Friday. I made it through the week. Oh, it's Wednesday. Happy hump day.
That's me after an exam. After an exam, I'm just like, let me reward myself. And then I get like a 70. I'm just kidding, but I feel you on that. And then that's just the thing about growing up too, is that we have to learn how to be able to like buy groceries, make our food at home. It's so much cheaper. We can break it down. At the end of the day, it's always gonna be cheaper to buy and make your own food, and that's just about being smart. But you know, we're entering our adulthood.
And we think that like $50 at Walmart is a lot, but we're buying $10 lunch, and we're like, oh, it's only $10.
Exactly.
We're buying lunch and dinner 5 days a week. That's $100.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it adds up for sure, and you don't realize that until like the end of the
late
month, and then
sometimes.
you're like, oh, I just spent
Rent's
all the money
due.
that I needed to, you know. And then you take your credit card and you swipe your credit card instead, and then it adds up on your credit card.
Yeah.
And then it's
You know,
declined, yeah.
It's easy. It's easy because it's human. Like, we all do it. But, yeah, I think those little, like you said, I'm glad you brought that up, those, like, little purchases, just being mindful of them. And if it's a want, like, it's okay to have a want, but you have to just think about it. Like, do I have maybe the money to buy Doc Martens today, or should I wait a month when I'm, you know, a little bit more, like, in a spot where or a position where I can buy that? But what about you, Javier? Did you want to add anything onto that?
Yeah, I mean, in college, I think it's pretty important just to budget for your needs. I think that's kind of the first thing you want to get out of the way. I mean, we're going to have a little bit of income that we want to, you know, spend on maybe drinks, going out to eat, you know, getting a coffee or whatever. But the important part is getting your needs out of the way. So, like, with my roommates, I'm like, so what do we need to pay so we don't go homeless, you know? So we're like, rent, bills, you know, renters insurance, things of that nature. We kind of put it in a category that needs to get done. So I budget my paycheck around that, and then whatever income I have after that, because it's important to save, right? But right now with lower income, it's more of a priority to get your needs out of the way. But yeah, I would just say the big thing for me is just budget for your needs at first, and then you can start evolving that, whether it's like a 50, 30, 20 or a different budget for you. It's all really relative, I think. But
a budget sheet's always, I think, the best spot to start, because it's never a bad advice, or like maybe like too much advice to tell somebody, like, just know where your money's going, you know. That's like the simplest and easiest way, because then you know, like, okay, maybe I can have the money to put towards a 401k right now, or a Roth, like, but I wouldn't have realized that if I didn't like know where my money was going first and do a budget. Right. So I think that's great that you've started that and that you do that, and that you know, you guys are both mindful of where each of your, you know, your checks are going, because that's, I think, something that a lot of people don't learn even later in life. So yeah, and that's something we've taken away from where we work as well. And so I think being around finances and immersing yourself in that is super cool. Yes. So
another good thing is the thrift store, man. I've been getting into that lately.
Don't get me started on the thrift store. I mean,
$4 for a shirt, man.
Some good slacks. I mean, you can buy some professional clothes there, and
we have a career closet too on the second floor of
they
Corbett.
Oh, that's that yours?
Yeah. Yes.
We were wondering what that was. Every time I go and study there, I'm like, where is that from? Because I see all the wardrobe there. That's cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, and they also have the photo booth, the professional photo.
Workshop photo booth. Now we're doing self promos. We have a workshop on Wednesday. on tips for winning scholarships.
Yes, yes. No, you guys can promote with us. We appreciate that. But I guess continuing on, I guess I have a question for you guys. Since you guys work a lot with students, and student situations when it comes to financials, what's a common struggle you guys see with students when it comes to finances, and what's some ways maybe our audience that's watching we can avoid those things or just not be so into them?
I would like to start off by saying all of our services are confidential.
Yes.
So if a student comes up to us and says this horror story of how they spent all their money on whatever, I'm not gonna go and be like, oh my God, Javier, did you see
of course.
Kevin just walked out and he did this and this and this. So it's completely confidential. We don't go and share anything that we
No, of course.
I would say the thing I talk with the most about people is budgeting, because some people need to see it on paper and some people don't. So those people who need to see it on paper, they go a whole week without checking their bank account and they realize they have $20 left and rent is due in 2 weeks. So it's what am I going to do now? So I think budgeting is a really helpful tip that we have given students. We have budget worksheets, we have budget workshops, we have other ways to help. We can help students apply for scholarships and stuff like that, outside scholarships. We help with the Scholar Dollar. I think that's definitely a big thing that we see is students, or another thing that happened one time was a student came in and they were like, I need you to help me make a budget. And I was like, okay, so what's the check look like? And they're like, well, I don't make any money. And I don't have any returns for my scholarships, and my parents don't help me. So at that point, it's what do we do there? So we do try to do a lot of problem solving, because, at the end of the day, we're not giving them money. A lot of people think that our center, they can go in and get a scholarship from us or tell us, a sad story, and then we, give money based on need and stuff like that. That's not what we do.
We might give you a shirt, but that's
or a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
But
Or advice. Maybe
Yeah.
some help or resources.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say, some people are different, but I think it's so possible to have a job while you're in college. My freshman year, I had 3 jobs, and I did okay. I didn't fail my classes. I think it's possible, and even just, door-dashing on the weekends, I think it's very important to work for not work for your income, obviously. People work for their income, but, to work, because it teaches another skill that we all need. If we're not working in college, chilling, and then we, graduate, get a big girl or big boy job, it's going to be, a rude awakening. So I definitely, try to offer, on-campus jobs. They're definitely easier, the library, stuff like that, where you can do your homework at work, but you're still getting paid to do something. Or just doing something, because it's always nice to have extra money. That extra money can go a long way. The extra money can be something that you save in a box in your room one day, and then you have enough for a down payment on a house or something.
Exactly,
Yeah, I think that's super important. Just finding ways to increase your income. It's just however you can. Like I said, on-campus jobs are very, very easy, very cool, and they offer what they do. It's kind of especially if it's your industry. For us or for me, I know it's been I got to network with a lot of people from Nusenda, a lot of people that you guys bring here for the talks, a lot of people from our distinguished lecture series. And, I've gotten really familiar with the resources around here. So it's important because you gain industry experience, you get organizational experience and time management experience. It all kind of jumbles in. So it's very important, just for future employers or future jobs you might have to kind of get the ball rolling on that side of the professional side. But Mia was right. A lot of what we see is budgeting. A lot of times people are where's my money, And that one and the biggest, this one doesn't really relate. I guess it kind of does, but we get a lot of FAFSA students too, so we have to be pretty familiar with the FAFSA application. So
reimbursement,
that kind of thing.
Scholar Dollar.
Scholar Dollar.
Yeah. No, I think that's the other part of that I liked that you brought up was the getting involved in school and the resources and going to the talks, because I feel the professional side of things and getting a real big girl or big boy job later in life, that's really intimidating, even if you've had jobs before. So let alone not having a job, and even if it's you're your parents help you or you get a scholarship and it's just extra money on the side, you're still learning the valuable points of like having a job and retaining a job before you go out and like then you have to get a real job. And yeah, I think that the professional side of things too is really, really important, and something that I didn't really even take advantage of until I like started to get involved in school. So yeah, I think that that's super important.
And that just goes a long way. I mean, I feel like a lot of the things in life has to do with balance. And so having a job in school, you got to be able to balance that. Getting money and knowing where to go, you got to be able to balance that. So it just takes a lot of, sitting down with yourself and realizing,
And personally, I think that when you work for your money, it holds a little bit more value to you.
Okay.
Like I'll be like at Chick-fil-A and my total will be like $14, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I make in 1 hour. Like that's like 1 hour of work that I just spent on 20 minutes.
Yes.
Like the enjoyment of a salad for 10 minutes. So I think when you work for your money, it definitely goes a lot longer because it holds more value to you.
Mm-hmm. Or if you're ever in like this situation where you might be subject to lose that money, like to a big expense, like that makes you think about it even more so. Like I didn't ever have an emergency fund, and now I've been putting towards an emergency fund too, and that's like I've talked to some people about it, like I don't know if I have enough in my emergency fund. And I was talking to a friend and they were like, well, the statistics are great because most college students outside of college, when they get into the real world, they're like more in debt than they have in college or in an emergency fund, let alone an emergency fund. They're worrying about paying off their debt rather than even getting to a point where like if something were to happen, like my car breaks down or
It
like
will happen.
and it will happen. It will happen, and it's scary, especially if you don't have like people to help you in those crises. Like you have to then like all you're left to is just putting it on your credit card or taking out a loan or whatever it is. So I think that that's another like really, really big thing that I also grasped from the statistics that you brought, that like an emergency fund now I value, and then the money that I put into it, if I ever lose it, I'm like, oh crap, I worked for that.
Right. I mean, it's astonishing, man. I mean, the average car emergency is $400, which could be, like something going on with your wheels, with your brakes. Oil changes have gone up in price. Oh, yeah. But tires specifically, the average cost to get a set of 4 tires is $800. Yeah. So it's getting insane, and that statistically, it should happen to college students in 4 years. Like it's gonna happen, so it's better to be prepared. I always like the saying, proper preparation prevents poor performance. It's kind of a tongue twister, but it's. Yeah. I mean, it's very, especially with cars. Like if you're a commuter, I mean, I love Las Cruces, man, but some of these roads.
Some of these drivers, some of these roads.
Yeah. And like they're fixing these roads around here. Finally, the potholes are crazy.
And the other thing too is like this is a state where like you need AC. And like my AC's gone out twice, but like one of the times it was in high school, and my parents thankfully helped me with my AC. But recently I lost my keys on campus, and that was like $300 to get a new key. And then the next day I found my keys.
Oh no.
So then I luckily had like a spare key now, so that was like kind of okay. But then my AC went out like the next day, and now it's starting to get to like 90. It's already like almost 90 degrees. Like yesterday was like 86, so I was like, I'm going to need to get this fixed because it's not like a state where I can like maybe push it back until June or July. It's like, no, the summer lasts here for like, like 5 months or 6 months.
Yeah. It's a little warm even in November sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like if I didn't have the emergency fund there, I probably would have been, because that was like another expense, and it just happens. It's like one day you have this money, and then all of a sudden it's like happens overnight.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've had to replace 3 tires in like 2 years, and my tires are like, I think the cheapest I've paid for a tire is like $190.
One time, one of my tires was so bad. Well, I like how we're talking about tires now, but like all the tires on my car at one point were like so bad that one of them was like close to popping it. It wasn't until I took it to the repair shop, and then I didn't have the money at the time. So at the time I was like freaking out, like because they were like, I would recommend you buy the tires now, but I only had the money to buy one. So thankfully, I got the help to pay for one, and down the road I could buy the other ones. But it was definitely a scary time, and that made me realize I should probably be better with with my money. And
Those emergency funds, it's like,
Mhm.
it's not like it's coming out of your checking account where you're going to see the decrease. Like, it's the fund set for emergencies. So, you know what that money is allotted for.
No, yeah, this subject I could talk about all day.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, there's a lot of times where you have to just, medical expenses. Luckily, we don't really have those happen as often, but they happen,
Right.
It's like you can't really ever expect or anticipate when those happen, but you can be prepared. So,
Yeah.
that's another great thing about that saying.
Just so we're a little bit specific, the starter emergency fund is about $1,000.
Okay.
So that's kind of like the baseline of what you want to get at.
Oh,
Really what you want to work for is like about 3 to 6 months worth of expenses paid. I know it's a little hard right now to save in college, but when you're in a professional environment and you're making more money, increasing your income, you want to have that because especially I know a lot of people have been saying that like economic downturns are coming and whatnot, and there might be layoffs. So it takes a while to find a job, and so it's good to just be able to fall back on that cushion for a little bit and be able to feel safe at least for 3 to 6 months.
Yes.
No, it's good sometimes in situations where, say you break your arm, you don't only have to worry about your bone being broken, but you also have to worry about the financial cost that comes with it. So, but when you, like you said, when you have that financial cushion, all you have to worry about is the broken bone at that point. You got everything else covered. So
Yeah. So just to take it to a different direction, we know, Javier, you're graduating, and then you have a few more years, but what are your plans after college, or maybe even in the next year, or in the rest of your college years, or whatever the plans are in the future?
You go first because yours is exciting.
Well, I just got a job I got accepted my offer letter at Los Alamos National Laboratory. Thank you.
So exciting, yeah.
I'm gonna get my master's with them, so I'll be working alongside with them so I can get some professional experience as well as completing my master's. So it'll be fun. I'm excited.
Yay.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I know you, in one of our other classes, we have you for another class, you were talking to us, and we sat you in front of the class, and we interviewed you
Yeah.
to prepare you for this opportunity, so we're glad that you got it.
Yeah, and that helped, man.
And it
I tell
helped,
you,
it helped.
My gosh.
Is there one valuable thing that you took away? I know we talked about Nusenda and financial literacy and all that stuff, but one really valuable thing that you're gonna take away going forward from your 4 years of college or from Nusenda? It could be any of those.
I'd say it's just kind of make the most out of your circumstances. We are so kind of just caught up in this race trying to make it out of college, trying to get a good job, that we don't kind of stop and smell the roses that it's a Saturday, I have no homework right now, I can just kind of hang out and watch the game. When can I be able to do that? Or it's like a Tuesday and I'm just sitting at home and I can go to Pete's patio or something.
Yeah.
It's almost like being present in the moment because we get so caught up in what's ahead, we forget to enjoy our college years. And so that's one thing I would take away. But other than that, learn as much as you can. Your professors have a lot to offer. Never be afraid to speak to anyone because if you're at a university and they're a professional, chances are they're looking to help. So
Yeah, that's great advice.
That is a
Thank you
good
for that.
advice, yes.
I won't be able to top that. But, well, I still have 2 more years left. But after that, I just plan to become an apprentice speech language pathologist while working to get my master's. Use my Spanish degree. Hopefully, they'll give bilingual stipends by that time, but who knows? But it definitely helps being bilingual, especially in this region.
Yeah.
Even communicating with students. Some students come in and they're like, "Do you have anybody who speaks Spanish?" I mean, both Javier and I speak Spanish, so that works. But next semester it's gonna go down to only one because he got a big boy job. We're really happy for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's 2 more years here and 2 more years getting my master's. Who knows where it will be? But
That is an awesome skill to have, and I think one that I want to learn eventually, and I aspire to have because I think that I mean, yes, it adds to your resume, but also just the valuable aspect of being able to communicate with people and like actually like get to the bottom of what they need based off of, you know, their circumstances. If they speak a different language, you're able to accommodate to that. So I think that that's really cool.
No, and I like that you said that, because I feel like a lot of the times the financial literacy that needs to be said and understood is often by people who often don't even understand English that much.
Yeah.
So, you know, if we're able to convey that in, say, Spanish or a different language, it's like now we can reach a wider audience and just kind of, you know, teach them what we teach people already.
Well, is there any final things that we didn't cover today that you want to talk about? Anything that excites you about financial literacy or anything? It can be any topics.
I guess just be on the lookout. You know, always be conscious of financial decisions. We have a lot of resources online. We have that are sponsored by Nusenda. So if you just go to our website and scroll all the way down, there's like these cool programs that show you everything from like buying a car to buying a house to how to invest. And it's, you know, it's okay to not know anything. A lot of people are like embarrassed that they don't know anything, but I mean, everybody starts somewhere. So it's okay to like be a beginner, and what's important is that you started.
And it's okay to have the days off where you can be present and you're not
Yes,
having to worry about your finances.
Exactly.
And that's usually when it probably works out better because you're not so stressed
Yeah,
about it. Yeah. So that's, thank you. for that.
definitely.
Anything you want to add, Mia?
I probably would just say I know a lot of students who don't attend workshops, or not even our workshops, but other things, because I think it's going to be a waste of time. But I would just say get involved with anything. Like I know the Student Success Center does workshops. And I mean, at the end of the day, we're not there providing information that's not necessary. So if you ever have questions, like always ask, stuff like that.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
thank you.
And we'll link all the information below for your website, for the website for Nusenda and everything, so that way people know where to go and all the resources that they have through you.
Yeah,
Yes.
our workshops are fun. I
They
think
are.
we do our best to make it entertaining, but also educational, and you always get something.
You win prizes.
Yes, every time.
And one more thing that I do want to add, that Nusenda is a credit union, and
Yes.
so I think that that's also, if you're wondering where to maybe bank, a credit union is always awesome, just because that's more of a family. It's more local, and you have more.
Non-profit.
Yeah, and it's more for you. It's not like
Right.
you're putting your money to a national bank that doesn't really know who you are or care where your money's going or anything like that. So that's another thing that I wanted
Yeah,
to add.
I mean, they're here at home. They're supporting our schools, our students. So they have a very like community focused, community-driven approach, and it's something that we're lucky to have as students.
I mean, like they say, the power of we, it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you both
Yeah.
so much for coming on. We appreciate your time, and we had a lot of fun talking about all of this stuff.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
it was
of
fun.
course,
It was really
yeah.
fun.
It was so
Thank you.
professional.
I know, it's professional, but we laughed and we told some funny things too. So that's what I like.
No,
Yeah.
thanks to you guys. You guys have been doing a great job with
Thank
Fintech.
you.
Killing
Thank
it, man.
You guys as well.
You guys as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much again, and we hope this information helps you be bold and shape the future.
Wow.
Okay, I like that.
Thank you guys.